What's going on today, YouTube? Today we're going to be making a video on the TB30R. I'm going to show you how to adjust a few things on this to make this lawnmower way easier for you to operate. And basically we're going to start with the deck height first. Now, how I want my lawnmower to run. Now, in the summertime, I want my lawnmower, because this is a mulching lawnmower, I want the deck height to be on number 5, where it's setting on number 5. See, it's on number 5 right there. I want that deck height to be exactly 3 inches, because that's where I mow in the summertime. Now, in spring and fall, I want that lawnmower deck height to be a different height. I want it to be at 2.5 inches, and I'm going to show you exactly how I get that. Here we go. So I got to get down here on the ground. So give me just a second here. Alrighty, here we go. Now, as you can see, with the blade sitting on the ground, everything's where it's supposed to be. That deck height is set at 3 inches on number 5, okay? And now if I put this down and I bring it down to number 4, now my deck height just came to 2.5 inches, exactly where I want it. Don't worry about the blade. I got a brand new one for it, and it's going on in just a minute. So we're going to put this back up on number 5. So I want number 5, and I want number 4 at 2.5, number 5 at 3. This is your adjustment right here. This takes a 3/4 inch wrench or a 3/4 inch deep socket to come in here, and I back this off because actually this deck height was too high setting in number 5. So I brought it down to 3 inches where you can see at number 5, and then when I bring it down to number 4, then it's at 2.5 inches. Okay, do we all understand how that works? Now, let me get up. Now, the reason I did that is because when I take this lawnmower out today and mow with it, I don't have to change this on the deck height. I know it's set at 3 inches on number 5, and if I want to mow it 2.5 inches, I just have to go down to number 4. This lawnmower will never mow on 1, 2, or 3, ever will it mow on those, because that's too low. Because this is a small mulching lawnmower, and I do have the mulching kit for it. I do have a brand new blade for it. This is the original piece that I took off, that I cut down. Now this piece here, I cut it to the same width, 6 inches wide, as this piece is right here. So if you don't have the mulching kit, you might want to try this out. So let me just slide this on real quick. And the reason that I cut that down, as you can see, it's within the width of the front tires. So whatever the front tires go through, that will now go through without hitting anything. Now, but I have the mulching kit on it, I don't need that anymore. I could use it if I wanted it. But now I put the mulching kit back on it. Now the biggest thing about this, of doing this, is so I never ever have to touch that lever. All I have to do is get on it, start it, engage the blades, and go mow. That's it, it's done, it's over. Now I can set that deck height at any height that I want on number 5, so I never have to touch it. If I wanted it 2.5 inches, I just back that screw out some more, or back that nut off some more, and I can bring it down to that 2.5 inches. If I wanted to set it 2 3/4 inches on number 5, I can do that. Never touch that again, ever. It stays exactly where it's at, except for on this lawnmower. In spring and fall, I will bring it down to number 4. Cut it that 2.5 inch that I want. See how simple that is for this lawnmower? That is a must for this lawnmower. It's a very small mulching lawnmower. This lawnmower does not have the blade speed of your average riding lawnmower. It just doesn't have it. And I think anybody that has this lawnmower knows that. It nowhere comes close to the blade speed that my zero turn up at the city has. Nowhere close. So this one here, we want to run this deck height a little high if you're going to mulch with it. If you're going to use the discharge with it, then you can come down a little bit lower on your deck height. But if you're going to use the mulching on it, you have to keep this deck a little bit on the high side. Now, the other problem with this particular lawnmower is the steering problem that it has. And everybody knows that it has a steering problem. The problem with that is not the lawnmower, it's you. Because you decided that you did not want to get down on the side of that tire and see how much air pressure that tire is supposed to have. That tire and that tire right there are supposed to have 20 PSI, not 10 PSI, not 12 PSI, not 15, 20. The reason those tires call for 20 is so this lawnmower turns very easily and you're not tearing up that steering system on this. That's why it calls for 20. That's it. It's that simple. Put your air pressure up to 20 and see how easy this lawnmower turns. You might replace it in maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, but not every year, because you're keeping that tire pressure where it belongs. The other thing that this lawnmower most definitely needs is a drains it hose. And that's right here. That is to drain the oil. That is that little orange hose right there. That is a 3/8 standard thread hose that just screws right into your side of your block with a little Teflon tape. And that makes it very easy to drain the oil on this particular lawnmower. Now, remember again, this lawnmower does not have the blade speed of most lawnmowers. It can't cut low. It just can't. It can't do it. That's why you have to keep the deck a little bit higher on this particular lawnmower. Now, let's say you have a beautiful yard out there, and you go out there every single day of the week and you cut your, not every, once a week or maybe twice a week, it just depends. But you want your deck height to be 2 3/4 of an inch. You can still get underneath there, loosen up that nut, still leave it on number 5, and now you're down to 2 3/4 of an inch. That piece of apparatus right there never gets touched again, ever. It always stays in 5, and your deck height is exactly where you want it. I don't know why they put so much deck height in this particular lawnmower, because it just doesn't have the blade speed. You want to keep this one basically high to do its job. It's a mulching. It's a tiny little 30-inch lawnmower that goes out here and does these small yards. You're not going to go out and do 5 acres with this lawnmower, that's for sure. But for a small lawn like I have here at my lake house, it's perfect, because I can get around all the trees and everything I need to get around, because I cut that piece off. It's all within the tires, and I can make it all around here. And the tire pressure is 20. There you go. It's that simple. Set your deck height and number 5. Never touch it again. If that's where you want it. You want it at 2.5 inches. You want it in 2 3/4 inches, or you want it in 3 inches. Put it in 5. Adjust your deck height and never touch that knob again. All you got to do is get on it and start it, engage it, and go mow. You got it? It's that simple. This is a very, very simple lawnmower. But people do not want to read what they tell you to do with this particular lawnmower. And that's why you have problems with it. It just doesn't have the blade speed that you need to go and literally cut the yard. It's just there to mulch the top of it off and make it look nice and pretty. That is what this lawnmower is for. Anything lower than that, and you're literally tearing the grass up. And it doesn't have the blade speed to cut the grass. It will just yank it completely out of the ground. So that's the problem. Keep your deck height a little bit on the high side, and you'll be good to go with this particular lawnmower. Get your tires aired up properly, and have a good little lawnmower. There you go, guys.